Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Libra for September 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, to see my blog. I always have new things posted on there. Also, if you would love to learn astrology, check out my Astrology Apprenticeship program. And if you are someone who's been wanting to have a live reading with me, but I've been on sabbatical for a long time from taking on new clients, you will be happy to know that I am letting some new clients into my base. So you can look at anniehelpsyou.com to see more about doing a live reading with me and having me give you personal insights about your chart. So what's going on in the month of September? We have Mars finally direct. So Mars is waking up, ambitions, momentum coming back. We have, and things moving along, starting to come out of the slumber of Mars retrograde. We also have the passing of the post-Mercury retrograde transit, so we're free of that. And then we have the beginning of the Venus shadow period, which happens before the retrograde, which means that you will be experiencing very similar energies of a Venus retrograde starting around September 4th. So we're going to go into more details about that. Venus rules love, beauty, and money. Venus is also Libra's ruler. So you definitely really want to know about that. When your ruling planet is retrograde, it affects everybody, but it affects you more. So we'll go into more details about what to look at with Venus retrograde. But first I want to talk about some other things specific for Libras. The first thing I want to talk about is birthdays. So if you are a September born Libra, then it will be your birthday in this month, and happy birthday. I love birthdays. I think they're an amazing time for manifestation. The sun in the sky represents what we want. And so when the sun in the sky gets back to the same point that it was at when you were born, it opens this portal for desires, which is where birthday wishes came from. There are so many things that we take for granted that people just do in life that are astrologically based, and this is one of those. So you get your 10 birthday wishes according to brilliant astrologer Jan Spiller, and you write them down, you say them out loud, you feel them as if they've already come true. If you'd like more tips on how to make powerful birthday wishes, check out my, well, if you just search for Making Wishes Come True, Annie, anywhere, it will come up. It's Making Wishes Come True using astrological power periods. So you can check that out. So for those of you who are watching for your rising sign, you will also be having a rebirth of energy too, because when the sun crosses over the solar first house cusp, which is what goes on at this time, then it's this new birth. And the later your degree is, or the later your birthday is, this is going to be staggered, and you might not feel this, until October. So what happens before the rebirth, the renew, the reemergence is the sun moving through the 12th house. And when the sun moves through the 12th house, it brings up icky things. That's just the best way to say it. The 12th house is like the attic or the garage or behind the stove, the place where we don't usually look. But that if you did look, you'd probably find some gross things, and you'd probably find some treasures, things that you've been looking for, things you didn't know you had, family stuff in an attic, something like that. So every year, it's very purposeful in this way. So before we have this time when we wish, when set intentions to wish. Oh, by the way, your birthday is one of the best times of the year to do a vision board if you're interested in vision boards. So the sun moves through the 12th house in the weeks before it gets to your birthday, or moving over your ascendant. So like I said, this will be staggered for you. So if your birthday is very late in the sign, you'll have part of September, but then a lot of October in this part that I'm about to describe. If you're an early born or an early degree Libra, you will have had what I'm about to describe starting like from the end of August or all of September. So this is this like putting a spotlight in these dark spaces. I call this house the Harry Potter house, because this is the place where energetically we figure out that the demons that we see outside of us are really inside of us. So things that we've swept under the rug, things that we don't want to deal with, things we're not even aware of that are affecting our lives, subconscious programs, things like that, are all in this space. So some people get uncomfortable in the time before their birthday, and that's because the sun is lighting this house up. I thought it was because, like in the past, before I realized this in the chart, I thought it was because, it's another year, it's reflection time, you're getting older, you're looking back on the things you've done and haven't done, and I'm sure that's part of it. But the bigger reason is because the sun is lighting up the spot of your fears and your worries and your unresolved issues, basically. So some people are tempted to just sort of party away or escape away this time right before their birthday. But like I said, it's purposeful. Spirit wants to help you see the things you don't want, and in order to be able to see what you do want so that you can affirm and wish for those things. And Spirit also wants you to see the blocks that are standing between you and the things that you'd like to wish for. So very powerful time. Okay, so we've got 2 amazing outer planet aspects this month. One of them is the Saturn-Uranus trine, which we've been talking about since October because that's when it started. So the influence of this transit is from the middle of August, like around the 14th, through the middle of September as at its strongest. But you will have felt it before August 14th, and you will feel it after. It's just locked into this configuration for a whole month. So the first half of September, we have this energy of grounding, material gains, things coming into form that you've been working on. For you early degree placements, so like the first 10 days of the birth sign, or, you know, pretty much the September born Libras, and then, or for your rising sign if you're watching from like 0 to 9 or 10 degrees. This is also coinciding with a major crossroads. Now this crossroads that the early degree placements are experiencing, you middle and later degree placements, still listen up because this is coming for you too, okay? So even though by the time it gets to the middle and late degree placements, you're not going to have this trine that's also occurring at the same time, it's still, you're standing before, either you're right in it now, if you've had hints of it coming, or you're a year or so out still of this major crossroads where changes in home, changes at work, in some cases changes with your relationships, with how you are in relationship, you and your me and we polarity, as I always call it. You know, it's just a major crossroads with lots of change coming in your life. And so this 4th house for the early degree placements is very much aspected. Home, family, childhood psychology, things that happened as children, you know, but this is having these are having kisses to this area. So things that were harmed can be healed. Things that were broken can be fixed. Anything involving real estate or anything having to do with home or houses is amazingly accentuated. And also for all Libras, the relationship space is very much focused on from the perspective of relationship surprises. And actually my theme for the month for all Libras is relationship surprises, because Uranus is going to be in the 7th or 8th house for all of you. And the 7th and the 8th houses are the relationship houses. So Uranus has been bringing surprises within relationship for a long time for Libras. You know, you either shocking other people with your behavior or doing sudden things, or other people shocking you with their behavior, for better and worse. You know, happy surprises, not happy surprises, just this energy of volatility in your relationships has really been active. But now here with this Saturn trine, it's like a stabilizing force put towards the volatility. And it's also bringing this energy of like surprises that are helpful to your long-term stability. Because when the planet of shock moves in a wonderful, the best aspect in astrology with the planet of stability and long-term gains, that's the energy of somebody you're in relationship with. And that's either a person or an entity. So like it could be a mortgage company, it could be student loans, it could be a credit card company, it could be benefactors, inheritances, it could be anything, a client, could have anything to do with like even government agencies. Any kind of agency is like fueling your movement to go towards, you know, something better and something more stable. So that is one of the stories that is going on as a main themes, this relationship stuff. And for the early degree placements, the home is very much aspected. Even for you middle degree placements, home is very much aspected, and that's all of the middle degree placements. So like, yeah, well, basically all y'all. So again, home, real estate, childhood psychology, family, mother, even father could be in there. You know, anything having to do with home and family is being beautifully blessed for early and middle degree placements. The later degree placements, you have a little bit of a shift with how these aspects are running for you. And this for you has more to do with, could be siblings, It could be like grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, things like that. Could also have to do with your mobility and your communication. So how you communicate, your communication style, issues with communication. Also like writing projects or speaking projects or anything where you're sharing information with other people, like your expression, getting things out there. So these blessings for you are more shifted. It could manifest as home and family energy, but there's more of a division of this, like phones, vehicles, communication, transportation, mobility. That could be physical mobility, like if there's a physical issue, something like that. So blessings coming in those sectors of life. In general, for Libra, you've got a lot of energy in the 11th house. That's for early and middle degree placements, but you later degree placements, again, you're going to have this happen. It's just staggered for you. And the 11th house has to do with humanitarian efforts, groups, things that have to, do with technology, internet-based projects, social media, friends, acquaintances, teams, anything like that. So that's coming up in a big way. This new moon, which is at 17 degrees of Virgo, for you early degree placements is going to be in the 12th house. Some of you middle will have it there. And then the rest of the middle and late will have it in the 11th house. So middle and late degree placements, you have extra energy that's showing up in your 11th house. The groups and the teams and the internet and the friendships and circles and things like that. When there's a new moon, there's usually some kind of specific new phase that's opening in that experience of life. So you can look for that energy there. The earlier degree placements, you have this new moon energy opening up in your 12th house. And like I said, also some middle degree placements there. This has to do with spiritual breakthroughs. This can have to do with psychological breakthroughs. This can have to do with getting more in touch with your dream time or quiet time, or creating sacred space where you have just space to be, just kind of like the creation of or the taking of some quiet time. So those are the things that are most on my mind for Libras. We do have some other long-term things we're going to be talking about as time goes on, because with Chiron, well, it's been at early Aries, but now it's going to go retrograde and go away from Aries. But you early degree placements, you would have had Chiron starting to bring up woundedness. Sometimes that's physical, sometimes it's emotional. It could be not from this lifetime, it could be genealogical. But this energy of training your inner hero through finding the weaknesses and healing the weaknesses. So this is going to be a major theme that's coming for all Libras over the next, it's going to be for the 5 years or so. This is a story where it will hit every placement in Libra. So your early degree placements, you'll have that in the sooner time. Middle degree, it'll be a few years in. Later degree, this will be years from now that it will hit. But this story of healing is basically awakening your inner giant, your inner hero, is going to be coming up in a big way. So those are the things that are most on my mind for Libras. Now I want to talk about more about these 10 amazing aspects. We talked about a couple of them, but I want to tell you more of them and give you the dates. Also, I want to give you a few dates to watch, including one to be extra careful. So we'll go into all of that now. So the theme of the month for all signs for September 2018 is major movement and momentum. We've been waiting for a long time for Mars to wake up from its slumber from retrograde. Most people will have been affected from the Mars retrograde as feeling lazy, unambitious, trying to do things that aren't working out, getting super frustrated. And so for those people, things are going to change now. And either it's going to be like a light switches on and your energy levels, your enthusiasm, your ambitions just wake up, or it will be like a slow tingling awakening of coming back to life of your ambitions, your goals, and your motivations to reach goals, and to do anything really. For the percentage of you, the smaller percentage of you who experience Mars retrograde with the opposite, in many cases, people who have Mars retrograde at birth will experience the opposite. So for them, Mars retrograde is their most productive time. So every 2 years, they have a cycle of, 4 or so months where they wake up, they get all this stuff done. So for y'all, you're going to be going back to sleep, but maybe you will have learned some lessons about how to best use your energy and bring some of that productivity into your daily experience afterwards, after the transit. So we have Mercury retrograde pretty much clear now at the beginning of the month. We have Mars just starting to wake up, taking until October 10th to regain full strength. And we have Venus getting ready to go into retrograde. So that's not going to happen until October 5th. But the shadow period starts September 4th. And the shadow period is just as important to note as the retrograde. Occasionally I'll have someone ask, why are you talking about this when it's not happening yet? And my very simple, very powerful, very accurate answer is, it is actually happening. And that's why I have to talk about it. Not everybody wants to deal with this. Most people don't want to mention and just wait until it's actually retrograde. But you are going to be having these things come up that are true to the transit well before the transit occurs. And that's one of my overriding messages I hope that you see from the work that I'm doing, is to let you be aware that things are not happening just when they, quote, happen. There's an orb of energy before and after aspects where we're feeling them. It's kind of like when you're driving out west from the east. I do this trip across the country back and forth very often. And I always notice, right, when the eastern kind of trees and density of population start to dissipate, you start to see some, desert plants come in, and you start to see more of a sparsity of trees and a change in the kind of trees. And then you might see some mountains in the distance, and you feel the dry air. And so the desert has come to you, but you're still kind of in the space where it's not quite there yet. But you feel it, and it's happening, and it's relevant, and you're having manifestations from it, but you're not quite in the desert yet. Okay, that's how this shadow period is. It starts to smell like this, the stories that are going to come up, the typical feelings, emotions, topics start coming in. And what are those topics? They have to do with love, beauty, and money. So everybody wants to know about Venus retrograde, because these are the big things that people talk about. I have done a very comprehensive job on trying to prepare you for Venus retrogrades. I have a video called Venus Retrograde Do's and Don'ts. I highly recommend that you watch this video, because I am not going to do Venus retrograde justice in this video, or even in the months that in October and November when Venus is actually retrograde. We'll be talking about this between now and December. But there's nothing that I have and nothing that I know of available, even on the internet, that is as comprehensive as this video that I've made for you about Venus retrograde. So you definitely want to search for Annie Venus retrograde. I go into so much detail, and you will be very educated about this transit and understand how to best use it. Okay, but in any case, the basic things that go on are, you are not seeing clearly in love, beauty, and money. Not the best time for doing any augmentation to your body, tattoos, implants, adjustments, procedures. Venus retrograde energy is not the best for that. Making big decisions in love, you're not seeing clearly. It's best to evaluate things and work in the backdrop. Money decisions, not the best time to make big money decisions in general. And things from the past that are issues will likely come back up, for better and worse. But blessings from the past can also come back. So like, let's say you're a person who teaches a certain class, and you have to, it's the time to cycle to enroll for this class again. That's okay, because it's a class you've been teaching. And in that case, people from the past may come and you might have a very prosperous showing in your class. But this is something you've been doing. It's not brand new. It's not a new launch. It's kind of just leaning towards the past involving money. Okay, so those things tend to do really well. Going back to old clients, previous business ideas, working on them more, anything that's worked for you in the past, doing those things again versus new things are going to be the tagline of September through half of December. Anything involving love, you may have love that comes back from the past. Okay, so yes, issues can come up and will come up from the past. If you have something unresolved in your love life, it's very likely that Venus is going to bring that up in a big way. But you can also have beautiful things from the past. Like, let's say you've been with your partner a long time and you had traditions and things that you did that were awesome and you loved them and you missed them. Venus retrograde can bring them back into your life. It can bring the spark back into your love. For people who are separated from their their love, if for any reason, maybe it's a military situation where somebody's abroad working, or any other international work, or even local work. If you have a partner who travels for work or who has been away, Venus retrograde can bring them back and you can see them, you know? So it's very beautiful, and there are many, many wonderful things that can come in. It's just important to remember, not the best time for launches, doing new things, making big moves, making big decisions, if you can help it, because you're not seeing clearly and you don't have the gusto of Venus going direct. It's leaning towards the past. Okay, now it can also bring love back into your life from the past. So somebody that you dated in the past, or a love interest, or someone who you were interested in the past could come back in. And in those cases, it's open for evaluation. Just try to not make any big decisions from what you're evaluating. Okay, so besides Venus retrograde and talking about all this retrograde stuff, we've got a massive amount of this beautiful energy of positive aspects, especially with outer planets. And I've gone into detail about those in the individual reports. But I want to just re-mention this, that for the first half of September, we are locked in this trine with Saturn and Capricorn and Uranus and Taurus. This can bring major manifestation, major things coming from the ethers into form and grounding and material support in wonderful ways. We also have a beautiful aspect with Jupiter and Pluto. This is a sextile between Pluto and Jupiter, and it's occurring in, for an extended period of time again, from like the 7th through the 13th, we can feel this really strongly. So beautiful blessings, especially near 18 degrees. That Earth trine, any Earth or water placements that you have near 2 degrees will be further enhanced. For the Jupiter-Pluto aspect, water and Earth aspects or planets that you have near 18 degrees will be further enhanced. And I usually go 5 degrees in any direction. So, 13 degrees through 23 degrees for the Jupiter-Pluto aspect, and then like 0 to 7 degrees for the Earth aspect. So if you have Earth or water placements in any of those configurations, then this could be an amazing time for you. And even if you don't, you're the ones that just get the extra blessing. Everybody has the chance to benefit from these beautiful aspects. So it's super exciting. Overall this month, we've got about 10 awesome, amazing, harmonious expressions. The dates that those occur, so let's see, I'm going to start to give you some dates here, but I want to give you a couple of caveats. One thing to know is that we can sometimes and very often feel the manifestations of a planetary configuration before or after. So I'll give you the dates, but you can feel them before or after, okay? That's the first thing to know. The second thing to know is that if you want a detailed play-by-play of what aspect is occurring on what day and what you can expect from it, then sign up for my free email newsletter at anniehelpsyou.com. At anniehelpsyou.com, you can get this free newsletter. I do a write-up that does a summary of the month, what you can expect, important details, and lots of additional details that I can't get into in the videos where we talk about what is happening on what day and what you can expect. Okay, but I am going to hit some of the highlights here. So these are the days to look out for sweet vibes, okay? But remember, you can feel them before or after these days. So the 3rd, the 6th, the 7th, the 9th, the 11th, the 12th, the 15th, the 16th, the 20th, the 23rd, and the 24th, and the 27th. Look out for stress, challenges, and overstimulation in the days around September 7th, 8th, 12th, 13th, 18th, 20th, 23rd, and 24th. So now I'm going to just hit a couple of the highlights here. I'm not going to go into all of them. You have to see the written report for that. But we've got some sweetness at the beginning of the month with a beautiful aspect with Venus and Mercury. I love this for all things. September 3rd is an amazing day for pretty much anything, okay? And this is because the Mercury shadow period, post-shadow period has passed. Mars has been direct for a little bit, is regaining steam, and Venus shadow period has not begun yet. So September 3rd, if you've got to do something important, I love September 3rd for this. I also love the days around it because they're mostly amazing aspects. But there is one aspect within that first week, actually 2 aspects like in the first 7-8 days on September 7th and 8th to look out for. But those days up, really the first week is just amazing for anything. So if you have to do anything important in love and beauty and money, like if you want to do your, any kind of physical things, aesthetics to your house, design projects, not on your body, but in your home, in your office, art projects, things bringing anything artistic out, anything really. This first week of September is the week that has the best open energy, free from the retrogrades, that we've had for a long time and that we're going to have for a long time. You're not going to get a freedom from the retrograde energies like this week until mid-December. Okay, so if you've got to do something important, if you have a launch that can't wait until December, you've got to bring something out, do it in this first week. This is amazing energy. Okay, we've got Mercury and Venus in a beautiful aspect. Saturn going direct can bring manifestations out into the world. We've got this trine with Saturn and Uranus. The Earth trine that's been in effect since the middle of August will still be in effect through the middle of September. It's in this exact configuration for a month. And then on September 7th, Mercury comes in and makes that trine with Uranus and Saturn a grand Earth trine. So everyone has the potential to be blessed from these transits and do stuff with them, but especially people with anywhere from 0 to 7 degrees of earth or water placements in your chart. Placements in your chart can go well beyond your sun sign, so here, those of you who have some working knowledge of your chart, this is going to benefit you to know this, okay? If you've got anything near 2 degrees in earth and water, this is going to energize whatever placements you have there and be even bigger and bring things to you in a bigger way. As I talk about bringing things to you in a bigger way, do note, I get this question very often. It goes something like this: Annie, and sometimes it's nicely worded and sometimes it's not nicely worded. And gosh, I wish they would all be nicely worded. But in any case, different versions of this. I'm not having the benefits that you or other astrologers are talking about as potentials from the stars, okay? So why? Why are they not having that? The reason is because if you're not a vibrational match for the things that are present as potentials, then you're not going to experience them, period. That is a law of the universe. Astrology can't get around that. Nothing can get around that. If you have a story, a program, a vibration inside of you, doesn't have to be conscious, can be unconscious, can be ancestral, can be genetic, can be whatever. If you have a storyline that's in your energy field that is different from the one that this beautiful aspect wants to create for you, you're not going to have it created for you. And that doesn't mean that the astrologer is wrong, and it doesn't mean that astrology is wrong. It means that you're not a vibrational match for the potentials that are sitting here. It's like I always say, if you have the ingredients to make a juicy peach pie on your counter, and you come out looking for the peach pie, and you're like, where's the peach pie? Someone's going to ask you, did you make the peach pie with the ingredients on the counter, or are they still there as ingredients? So this is your call from the universe to take an active role in your destiny. And if you see that there are inconsistencies with the potentials that are sitting before you, that you feel, that you see, that you hear about, and they're not manifesting, you have to look inside. Some tools I love for working inside: EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. This is a form of meridian clearing that clears your energy field, clears belief systems. You can find things totally free online. You don't have to have any money. You can be in the worst situation in your life and not be able to put any resources into this and still access it, okay? So look up EFT. I love the Presence Process by Michael Brown, one of my favorite tools. I love the Marriage of Spirit, the exercises in Section 2 by Leslie Temple Thurston. These things are just like blockbuster self-development tools that can help you to be a vibrational match for the things that you want and these beautiful potentials that we're sitting here in front of. Okay, so now that I've said my piece about that, so once we get out of this first 7 days, and even at the end of the 7 days, we've got the Sun opposing Neptune, okay? This is our first aspect that's a little bit, iffy. It brings this question of confusion, unclarity, miscommunication, deception, security breaches. So if you're feeling insecure or weird, regardless of all these potentials around, you have to honor that. We never know when we're going to have a pocket of a manifestation from a challenging aspect, even dancing in between all these beautiful aspects. Okay, so, feel your way through it. On September 8th, we've got a clash with Venus and Mars. That's going to bring some challenges and stress. On September 9th, we've got this beautiful new moon with two beautiful outer planet aspects that are positive affecting it. But we also have Neptune giving this same kind of message. Guard your personal data and possessions. If things are seem too good to be true, they may be. You know, anything that you're not certain about or you're confused about, you need to take more time around. But in general, this new moon at 17 degrees of Virgo is awesome. We've got beautiful positive boosts by Pluto and Jupiter, and it's time to make your new moon wishes on anything involving Virgo. So health, diet, healing work, whether you're doing the work or receiving the work or would like to be doing the work, medical tests, exams, or procedures, anything with animals or pets or workplace issues or goals. September 11th and 12th, we've got another set of amazing aspects. Enhanced discernment, positive outcomes from having an analytical eye. So you can see like this chance for confusion and uncertainty is present at the same time as these enhanced mental powers are present. So you might feel that at one point on one day, and then someone else might feel it. You know, these are rolling energies. It's kind of like, you know what it's like when you're in the water, right? Let's say you're in the ocean and there's like a pocket of cold water, right? You're like, oh, cold. How did that happen? I just wandered into a pocket of cold water, but then but your knee, the bottom of your leg is in this warmer pocket, right? So that's happening. And then you're like, oh, better go over there into the warm pocket, right? So that's what these transits are like. They're happening at the same time. They're influencing. Their chance to manifest is occurring simultaneously. So you need to use your intuition to feel out like, I'm feeling good today, and I know these aspects are good, and I'm feeling them, so I'm gonna do important things. But then if you're like, well, everyone's saying this is really good, but I feel like crap and I don't feel sure, then don't do anything. You know, you've got to wait and follow your personal flow. Astrology is nothing unless it is helping you to enhance your own connection to yourself and to spirit and to the all that is. All right, so then we start getting a little dicey here in the middle of the month. September 12th, 13th, we've got a little rough patch. This can bring surprises in money and love. This can bring unpleasant jolts, or this can just bring overstimulation. Maybe money stuff is going great. It's going to bring up the polarity of me and we. So you versus other people, people close to you, entities that you're working with. But while this is all going on, we do have that beautiful Jupiter-Pluto aspect that can supersede and bring protection and benevolence even through these challenges. All right, so that September 13th, you got to look out again. If you're not sure about things, deception, uncertainty, security breaches can be more likely. Then on the 15th and the 16th, we've got more sweetness. You know, there's like at least 10 beautiful aspects this month and close to half of that of challenging ones, okay? So even though there are some things to look out for, there's definitely more awesomeness than there are stress factors. Also towards like the second week of the month is a big time for that eclipse, for more eclipse news to come in when we're like a month after the August 11th eclipse, so around September 11th. That sometimes is a time when major eclipse news or continuation of a story that's already started can come up. So Mercury doing awesome things on the 15th and 16th. But at the same time, Mars and Uranus are going to make a bad aspect. Yes, I'm calling it bad. Yes, you can use it for good. Squares can always be encouragers to do something, to break through something. So in that way, it could be good. But Mars and Uranus getting together in a challenging situation, these are one of the aspects that I put a red flag up for, okay? If you've watched me for a while, or maybe you can tell already, I'm super positive. I have a very optimistic viewpoint. The art of astrology, there's a science of astrology, okay? But there's an art of astrology. It's in the eye of the beholder, the reader. So I look at everything like, how are we gonna make this awesome? But at the same time, if there's something dicey, I will tell you, okay? And this is one of those things. September 18th, watch out for your body. Watch out for pissing people off. Do not antagonize a crazy person. Do not antagonize anybody. Go easy on exercise. You know, go easy on important conversations. Try to not plan anything important, especially with somebody that pushes your buttons. And if you can avoid people that push your buttons around this time, that would be better. I've seen Mars aspects sometimes show up as soon as 5 days before, you know, and quite a few days after. So remember that about these aspects. You can feel them before or after. And this is occurring at the same time that a lot of sweetness is occurring. So you've got to just, you know, remember what I said about being in the water in the warm and cold patches. You have to, when you're in a really warm, comfy patch, then do some stuff. If it's a little bit dicey, then maybe hold off. And since Venus is going into retrograde and it's getting closer to the shadow period, by this time, your discernment might be off a little bit. It might make more sense to wait before you do something important. September 20th can be great for enhancing mental powers, but it can also bring a lot of criticism. So the 20th, the 21st, and the 23rd, we've got some challenging aspects, 2 of them with Mercury. Okay, so these are energies that can bring up old wounds. These can bring news about a physical malady. It can be something, you know, negativity or criticism could come to you now. It could be anything having to do with like somebody, a force coming in, not being nice, you know, just basically general negativity and criticism. But then on the 23rd, we've got this little boost with Mercury and Mars. So this brings the opportunity for amazing conversations and amazing social contacts, and can bring great mental power. The full moon at 2 degrees of Aries on September 24th is boosted with sweetness by a trine with Jupiter and a sextile with Mars. At the same time, it can have additional intensity from a square with Saturn and then a Chiron conjunction. So whenever Saturn is involved, usually criticism or pressure is involved. Okay, and then whenever Chiron's involved, especially in a challenging aspect, it can bring this victim-tyrant mentality or polarity. Okay, so you could feel like somebody is doing something to you, or someone could be accusing you of being a bully or a tyrant, which you may or may not be, but this topic is what's brought up. So fullness, completion, fruition, drama can come to anything in the area of Aries, especially your physical body, especially the head or brain or anything having to do with your circulation or your neurological system. It can have something to do with fruition about recognition, so coming out into the light, your image, your individuality, pioneering efforts, daring goals, you know, anything that has to do with Aries. We end off the month, September 27th, with a beautiful aspect with the Sun and Mars. So this is great for confidence and enthusiasm. Do remember that even though it can bring positive use of assertiveness and great for attracting or expressing positive masculine traits or energies, we're getting super close to Venus retrograde now. Okay, so just be really careful with the decisions you make and don't let your enthusiasm make you take on something too soon. All right, this is like this process of following retrogrades is like watching the ripening of fruit. You know, it makes me think I have a grapevine and, you know, you feel the grapes, right? And they're edible. You get to where they're edible and you might be excited to eat them. But you know, if you wait like 1 or 2 more sunny days, that grape is going to be bursting with so much extra sweetness and juiciness. That is what I want you to hold with you for this, this energy of the retrogrades. And you'll hear me mentioning this a lot because I really want to get it imprinted into you to associate the retrogrades with this. If you're excited to bring something out, but things aren't quite working out and you're not completely sure, maybe it's better to work on it in the backdrop until December. December, mid-December, the end of December is going to be an amazing time in the cosmos. So many wonderful things going on and beautiful energy around bringing things out into the world. So just kind of tune in and make sure that the things that you were thinking about doing are really ready to be plucked off of the vine. So if you are interested in learning astrology, I would love to see you in my astrology apprenticeship program. I don't know for how long, but I will be off sabbatical. I have been on a long sabbatical of not taking individual clients for live readings, but I have some openings now. So if you've been wanting to work with me, then you have your chance. You can go to anniehelpsyou.com. You can sign up for my free email newsletter there, get your monthly write-ups, get all kinds of other goodies. And you can see more about working with me in various capacities on my website. If you'd like a written horoscope from me, then go to cozybysweetstarlight.com. and you'll also see my lifestyle blogs there. If you're a traveler, go to Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss. That is where I write my monthly astrology travel reports. So astrology reports just for the traveler, extra things that we might not talk about in the general report or the sign reports. And definitely check out my husband's website, IamHelios.com. My husband, B.R. Newman, is an amazing phenom of creativity. He's amazing with tarot. He teaches tarot. If you've wanted to learn tarot, definitely check out his tarot course. And he puts together these vibrational masterpieces to help you attune to the stars and to bring the positive aspects out of expression and to work with the challenging ones. So check out his database of audio assistance at IamHelios.com. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.